Hi, it's Raquel with Balloon Splendor. Been asked to create a new template for a square pack arch, or a column I mean. The square pack column here, it's called a square pack because we've got alternating sized balloons here, quads, and it creates a nice square balloon column basically. These sides here are pretty flat. And then it's accented with some curved shapes here, which are the crescent moons, and topped off with a big 3-foot balloon. So this particular picture is set at an angle, and instead of trying to get that angle look, I'm just going to recreate it straight on. First thing we're going to do is put our pole so that we keep everything lined up. So it looks like the top of the pole is about there and maybe about there. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and zero this out so it's perfectly vertical. And the two shapes we're going to be using today is that one and that one. So we're going to go ahead and use the square one as the front ones, as the larger balloons looking forward. And I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit smaller. And scooch my arrows over. I'm going to zoom this in just a tad. Maybe a tad more. Okay. And we're going to make this one a little bit smaller. Let's start at 0.5 and see how that looks. Okay. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my lines thinner because I can. There we go. And the way these work, I'm going to send this to the front a little bit. When these are being packed, you're going to want to stack them such that the balloons are just touching. The distance between the gold and the silver here, they're just touching each other. Just like that. And this tells me my sizes aren't quite right. So I'm going to go ahead and make this one just a tad bigger, maybe a 0.6. That's too much, about a 0.55. Okay. Wonderfully tedious. Zoom in a little bit more. But once you get your first ones, I'm going to bring that back down. Once you get your first ones, first 4 quads built, and you've got your spacing where you like it, then you can just copy and paste it right up the line. Okay. I like that. I know there's a little bit of a gap there. I think that's going to be okay. Remember that the balloons, these are circles here, but the balloons, you can distort them a little bit, and they've got some give and take in them. The important part of the drawing is that you want it to communicate, hopefully, what it's going to look like when it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and color these really quick to kind of a gray, and we're going to do this one as that orangey gold color, and this one kind of is a silver color. Alright, so now I'm going to select all these. I'm going to do a Control-C and a Control-V for the copy and paste. And you'll see we're lining everything up just like that. Okay, I can grab it all, copy and paste, and drag it up there again. And I like Publisher because it's got all these little helpful lines on here. You see the little pink lines that show up. Lets you know you got everything lined up pretty good. Alright, that's pretty darn close. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do these moons next. The Publisher does have a moon shape. And let's go ahead and put it in there and see how I did. So we can adjust the moon shape a bit. We're not going to be able to get it exactly the same, and that's okay. What we're looking at doing is just communicating the look. So let's go ahead and change that to the silver. I'm going to copy and paste it, and the second one is actually quite a bit smaller. And it's not that the balloon itself is smaller, it's that it's in the background. And things that are farther away appear smaller than the objects that are nearer. So that's what we're looking at. And I'm going to go ahead and, I wish I knew how to change the default on the line thickness. I like my lines a little bit thinner when I'm doing this kind of work. So I'm going to rotate this one just a tad bit more. Oops, just that one only. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a Control C, or actually just selecting them. And we'll go ahead and put them on there. And then I can do a Control C and a Control V for copy and paste. And we're going to rotate these horizontally. Then I'll have to move it back a little bit to make all that work. Okay. And then you just got to play with it a little bit here. Is that right? Oh, how about if we go like this? Just line it up that way. Let's move this one over a tad more. Check it out. And then we can just grab it, highlight it all, grab it, and move it right on there. Spiffy. Now let's draw that big circle here. About like that. Change these numbers to the same, and change the color. Change the line thickness, and put it on top. And send it back. Oops, hit wrong button. This gets sent back also. There we go. So that's about there. It's about what we're looking at roughly. Alright, so we got a little more pole to cover up here. So because I like to use my drawings as templates, recipes later on, I'm going to go ahead and finish drawing this out. So let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller here. See, this one is 0.23 high, so let's go ahead and make this one 0.23 high also. And we're going to change its color, and I'm just going to arrow it up in there. Not quite sure how this is going to work in reality, but for purposes of selling it to your client, I think we can go ahead and do that. And I think there's going to be actually another set, because these are curving out. So that tells me there's going to be a gap in the middle. So there's probably going to be another quad sitting up there. Not quite sure how big these are going to be. So when I go to build it, I will probably be hand sizing them, burping them down to see how it fits, and then I would be making note of how big they are. So next time I have to make it, I don't have to go through all of this. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and, for purposes of selling it to the client, I'm going to go ahead and just move these down and just make a quad, or finish up the column with the black quads. Put this last one right up here, kind of like that. Okay, and I'm going to pull this one forward and this one forward. I'm going to go ahead and move these two to the left a couple arrows, and these two to the right a couple arrows. Okay, I think that's about it. There is the template. So depending on how picky you are, you may want to group these and then rotate it a little bit. Let's see if we just rotate it just a little bit. Oops, going the wrong way. You can fine-tune these all day long. shift it, group it, and then rotate it -5 degrees. Then I'm going to move it to the center a little bit. Okay. Alright, so I think that's about it. If I am feeling insecure about how I have done my drawing, I may want to actually go on the internet and take a look at how other people have built them and make sure that this is reality here. So, alright. Now if I wanted to save this as a building block, I'm going to go ahead and select everything, and I'm going to ungroup everything down first. That ungroup? Yeah. And then I'm going to regroup it all as one unit. I'm going to go in, do a format, lock the aspect ratio, and then that gets selected. Yep, it all got selected, okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and right click and save as building block, and what are we going to call this? Square column with crescents. Alright, real creative. And there you have it. There it is. So if you wanted to go in now and change some of these colors, you can ungroup it, and I'm going to zoom back in. And let's say we wanted to change these to, I don't know, Wildberry, or let's change them to a blue, a really pretty robin's egg. Where's a robin's egg? That's close to a robin's egg. It's just that easy. There you go, Raquel Porter with Balloon Splendor.